Hey everybody, welcome back to Enemy Archives, where enemies from the Legend of Zelda series are brought into the light. If you've been following along with this series, you probably know that we've covered all of the enemies belonging in the Blinn family. However, the Blinn series is not yet over, for one more Blinn will be making an appearance today. Today's Blinn is a boss enemy, though perhaps not a boss of any dungeon. Instead, this boss is in charge of many other monsters. He is also a more familiar character to those who have played Twilight Princess. Today's featured enemy is none other than King Bulblin. King Bulblin has only appeared in one Legend of Zelda game, where he made several appearances. His primary role in the story is to clear out villages before they are covered in twilight. However, there is more to King Bulblin than meets the eye. Alright everyone, we're about to get going on the grand finale of the Blinn series. Enemy Archives, King Bulblin. King Bulblin is one of the most notorious characters from The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. While he may be under Xant's command, he is in absolute control of the Bulblins, who can be found all over Hyrule. King Bulblin has a unique mount named Lord Bullbo, who appears to be a larger variant of the average Bulbos that the Bulblins ride. King Bulblin only appears in one main series game, but don't think he's gone just because you throw him off a cliff, because King Bulblin might just be the most determined enemy in the entire game. Link's very first encounter with King Bulblin occurs near his hometown of Eldin village. Shortly after rescuing a child from bokoblins in the woods, Link reunites with his friends at the Eldin Spring. Suddenly, Bulblins break through the gates and proceed to incapacitate Link and his friends. Then, King Bulblin makes a signal that the area is clear, and a portal opens up overhead. Finally, all of the Bulblins take off, leaving only Link behind. Long after King Bulblin is gone, Link wakes up and runs after the Bulblins. However, the way they went is covered in twilight, and a shadow beast pulls Link into the darkness. After that, it is quite some time before Link sees King Bulblin again. The next time is in Kakariko village, where the children of Eldin village fled after escaping the Bulblins. Link returns from acquiring the Iron Boots, only to find King Bulblin stampeding through town. This time, however, Link is hot on his trail, riding Epona out into Hyrule Field to track him down. This is where the first battle with King Bulblin begins. The first phase of the fight involves Link chasing King Bulblin down while being attacked by Bulblins. These Bulblins ride Bulbos, and usually wield a bow with arrows. Every so often, King Bulblin will call for reinforcements. After taking enough damage, King Bulblin will begin the second phase of the battle. For the second phase, King Bulblin will lead Link to the Bridge of Eldin, where he will initiate a sort of joust. In order to win, Link must ride quickly up to King Bulblin and swerve away at the last moment while swinging his sword. After hitting King Bulblin several times, Link will knock him off of the bridge, sending him falling down into the darkness below. If this were the end of King Bulblin, this would be a rather short video. Fortunately for us, and for him, his story does not end here. Sometime later, Link promises to escort Telma, Ilia, and the injured Prince Rallis to Kakariko village. Of course, since King Bulblin was thrown off of a bridge in the last fight, he has suffered the grievous wound of losing half of one horn. Regardless of how indestructible he is, King Bulblin is obviously back for a rematch. Link must fight King Bulblin on the bridge, but this time with a twist. King Bulblin has two metal shields, one on each side, which prevent Link from hitting him directly with his sword. Fortunately, Link can fire arrows between the two shields, but this can be tricky as Link will still have to avoid getting rammed by King Bulblin. After taking several shots, King Bulblin will lose control of Lord Bullbo and will ram into the side of the bridge. As he falls, Link somehow snatches the key to unlock the gates near Kakariko. For the second time, King Bulblin plummets into the darkness below. Despite losing twice, King Bulblin returns for a third appearance. Much later in the game, Link must pass through the Bulblin camp in the Gerudo Desert right outside the Arbiter's grounds. Many Bulblins will try to stop Link, but eventually he will acquire the key that lets him into a very specific tent. Inside this tent, King Bulblin awaits, ready to ambush Link. King Bulblin attacks Link with a huge stone axe, and the fight begins. King Bulblin can deal massive amounts of damage with a single blow, to the point that just a few blows could be fatal. Thankfully, he is rather slow while holding his axe, and it isn't too difficult to avoid his attacks. After Link wins the battle, King Bulblin limps away, still defiant. But, surprise, the tent bursts into flame, and both exits are shut. To escape, Link must break out by riding the Bulbo that was left inside. However, King Bulblin has one more plan in store. Toward the end of the game, in Hyrule Castle's courtyard, King Bulblin makes one final attempt to stop Link. He begins by doing something completely unusual for a Bulblin. He talks. He tells Link he has come to play, which, of course, means he's ready for one more fight. Then, he begins the battle. He fights similarly to how he fought in the Gerudo Desert, wielding the same axe as before. This time, however, he can whip out a destructive spin attack move. This attack has King Bulblin whirling around the arena, swinging his axe extremely quickly. Even with this new attack, King Bulblin can still be dodged fairly easily as long as Link stays out of reach. After being defeated, King Bulblin gives Link the keys to Hyrule Castle. Then, he mounts Lord Bullbo and tells Link that he will follow the strongest side, for that is all he has ever known. Finally, he will take off, now an ally rather than an enemy. King Bulblin actually makes one last appearance in Twilight Princess. He can be seen in the credits, riding across Hyrule Field with a few Bulblins nearby. I suppose with Hyrule at peace, there isn't much of a need to kidnap children. Other than his post-game appearance, King Bulblin has not appeared again in the main series since Twilight Princess. Will we ever see him again? Who knows? King Bulblin and the Bulblins, however, will most likely remain shrouded in mystery as long as they are remembered. Now, let's get a look at the last episode's quiz results. Here they are. It looks like nobody guessed A, B, or C. 87% of the answers were for D, and 12% of the answers were for E. That wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. Oh well. Since this is the last episode of the Blend series, instead of a quiz, I'll ask you a question. What is your favorite enemy we've covered so far? Also, are there any enemies you want to see covered in the future? Let me know in the comments below. I'll be going through monsters by type or species, but if you want to see one in Enemy Archives, be sure to let me know, or I may miss it. And with that, the Blend series is officially over. Before too long, I'll be starting another series of Enemy Archives episodes, so stay tuned for those. Also, if you enjoyed the video, please like it and subscribe for notifications about each new video. Thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you next time you're in the Legend Zone. The most important detail here, however, is that while Link's friend is literally tied to a rampaging boar, Link decides to pose epically on the bridge.